It is the second model introduced in the 2024 Mazinger Collaboration with Medarot S, sporting the design of a direct upgrade to Mazinger Z itself, this one based off Mazinkaiser. It is DYN01 Mazin K, with a completely brand new kit across the board of lock shot, jet blow, jet hammer, biped legs, and the leg ability of Blowbeat, which ignores a percentage of the target's resist stats when attacking an enemy. Now, as an upgrade to Mazin Z, which is the event reward of this particular collaboration, Mazin K most certainly steps up the power game with a very powerful shooting skill, 2 powerful melee skills, and a much more synergetic, I suppose I can call it, leg ability to make him a little more conventional and easier to use, sporting higher specs, much higher power, and a much better all-around user-friendly capability. Lock shot on the head part is a shooting-based skill which essentially serves as a now new shooting version of Deathlock. And to explain Deathlock briefly, it will essentially slap the opponent with a no dodge and no defend seal, but also cut their heat and cool specs down by about 25%, meaning that while this ailment is inflicted on the enemy, they are not able to dodge, they are not able to graze. This means that any hit that lands is guaranteed to land no matter what, and it's also guaranteed to be a critical hit on top of that. The only real caveat to lock shot, however, is the fact that it cannot be used repeatedly, which means you have to basically stagger its use across multiple turns, such as using lock shot on turn 1, use something else on turn 2, and then you can use lock shot again on turn 3. Jet Blow on the right arm is a brand new skill being introduced into the game, which basically serves as a very interesting nod to the rocket punches that the Mazinger series is best known and iconic for. But to explain Jet Blow briefly, it essentially is a melee version of Long Shot, which grants a damage bonus relative to how far away the target is from Mazin K. In addition, it also packs passive pierce damage, which will make it even more painful on top of that, very similar to how basic long shot is all the same. Whereas the closer the target is to Mazin K, the less of a modifier you're going to get aside from the base damage it already comes packing with. Jet Hammer on the left arm is another brand new skill being introduced, which also serves as another variant to the melee version of Long Shot. So, much like it was with Jet Blow and Long Shot, it does get a damage bonus relative to how far away the target is from Mazin K, whereas you get less of one the closer they are. However, instead of having passive piercing damage much like Jet Blow, Jet Hammer is an AoE attack, which means upon attacking the target, it will spread the damage equally across all active parts. Of course, this means the only time that this will not be applied is if the target has a conceal effect applied to them, which will sponge all the damage to that one particular part. Same, of course, with any enemies that are using shield to try to divert damage and keep it on as low as possible. Biped legs means that Mazin K, much like Mazin Z, will have pretty solid coverage across most terrains, as biped have arguably one of the best all-round coverage in terms of terrain compatibility, and across the board, just looking at the numbers compared to Mazin Z, Mazin K as a direct upgrade it should be and truly is basically packing a much more aggressive kit and much better stats spread across the board. With a head HP of just shy of 6,000 there, right arm at just shy of 5,000, left arm at 4,800, and legs at just shy of 5,600 HP as well, he is very notably healthy in terms of HP, so it is going to be pretty tough to take this guy down if you are planning to just try to brute force him across the field. With leg stats, he is notably faster and tankier across the board as well compared to Mazin Z. With a base mobility of 809, he's already off to a very solid start in the mobility department. An evade of 906 isn't too shabby, as it does mean he can hold his own fairly well when it comes to dodging or grazing, but a melee resist of over 2,000 and a shoot resist also at over 2,000 means he can most certainly hold his own up close and personal or at range without anything really taking him down or crippling him too quickly. When you pair this with his very high base HP numbers across the board, he is going to be a very difficult enemy to take down, especially if he's on the enemy side of the field as a leader or a fender. The leg ability of Blowbeat is also a very solid addition as well, as it means that aside from his already fairly impressive base damage that will of course go up the farther away the target is, he will be hitting just slightly more aggressively than that, so you're probably going to get a little bit more mileage out of each attack no matter how you choose to use him. All this being said though, as a pure set score, I honestly have to rate Mazin K a pretty solid 7.5 out of 10 across the board, and a pretty well-rounded model between 1 shooting skill and 2 melee skills. He's fairly well-rounded, very solid HP pool and damage reduction, good speed, and pretty solid base power as well, and Blowbeat also synergizes with all 3 of his parts moderately well. The only real notable weaknesses I do see to Mazin K here specifically is the fact that both of his arms kind of require the target to be farther away from him in order to really get the most mileage out of Jet Blow and Jet Hammer's modifiers. And Lock Shot, even though now we do have officially a shooting version of Deathlock, it can be very useful to have, but the problem is you can't spam it, much like you can to basic Deathlock. But that honestly can be skirted decently easily, as you really don't have to or need to spam Lock Shot a lot, unless the enemy somehow dodges or grazes it and somehow makes it ineffective. As mixed parts, I do have to rate him just a little higher at an 8 out of 10 across the board for these same reasons. All 3 of his parts are notably powerful and have very solid skills, and being able to perhaps mix them up, such as say Jet Blow or Jet Hammer with an enemy that pushes someone away from him before he gets to the line, might really come at a very solid synergetic advantage. The only real drawback I see here as well to Mazin K is that he is triple heavy, so do bear in mind and do bring some caution to the field that if you are planning to combat Mazin K or use him on the team, just make sure the enemy is not using any gravity attribute skills, because one hit of this will, even with his very impressive damage reduction and HP pool, very quickly cut him down to size.